So when someone says just save and you'll be fine, no, you won't. You won't be fine. And I'm very glad you found this video. The solution isn't to abandon compounding as a whole. Compounding still works. You just need more of it and to master these 4 levers from lowest impact to life-changing impact. So the first lever is obviously income, because most people think of terms of saving more, but the reality is it's far more powerful to think in terms of earning more, because there's only so much that you can cut out of the budget. There's only so much you can get rid of. There's essentially no ceiling on what you can make as far as income. Here's where people actually underestimate this most. If you're 25 years old, that $1,000 today has 30, 40 years to compound, right? That means that every extra dollar that you earn and invest right now hits harder than what you would earn 10 years from now, right? The difference between starting at 25 and 35 can literally cut your outcome in half. That means every extra dollar that you invest right now hits harder than dollars you earn 10 years from now. Isn't that a trip? Learn the skills, use those skills to solve somebody's problems, sell a business, sell a service, do something as a side gig, pick up an extra consulting gig, negotiate a raise, build a skill, solve somebody's problem, because you're not just making $1,000, you're creating a compounding stream that could represent 6 figures over a lifetime. And now flip it. That $1,000 that you didn't earn because you didn't do that one thing that you know that you needed to do also compounds, just in the wrong direction. This is why I'm not crazy about people talking about saving $100 here or there without really asking, what can I do to increase my earning power? Biggest wealth accelerators I've seen, and I look at a lot of finances, aren't extreme couponing. They're the people who intentionally increase income early and then put all of that into assets. And if you have a job and you have stability, then you already have the predictable cash flow. Even if you can increase that 10 or 20% and deploy the difference strategically, you've just changed your long-term trajectory in a way that cutting subscriptions never will. And this only works if you can actually see the money coming in and see the money coming out. If you don't know what's coming in and what's going out, then you have to get an app. It's that easy. We use Monarch Money. It's like a partners app. So you can assign family members and different budgets. It's essentially the financial command center that my wife and I use. We link all of our cards, all of our real estate in. Now it's starting to do investing, and then the app does all of the rest, literally puts it all on a sheet. It's amazing. But this also only works if the money doesn't get absorbed into lifestyle creep, which is the second lever, spending. And I don't mean this in a way like never ever enjoy your life. I'm not here to tell you to live like a monk or feel guilty about every nice thing you buy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to understand the difference between spending that helps your life and spending that quietly steals your future. I'm not talking about coffees here. A $500 month car payment doesn't feel like a big deal. It's only $500. But if you look at that as $6,000 a year, and then you look at it as a 3-year lease, you just spent $18,000 to drive a car that you don't own. That one lease can quietly represent a huge opportunity cost over time. And most people do this like several times and they don't even bat an eye. When you're earlier in your journey, your money is more valuable because it has time. That means that spending decisions at 25 can cost you way more money than spending decisions at 45, simply because those earlier dollars have the longest runway to compound. And of course, increasing the amount of income you need just to stay afloat on a monthly basis. It's not the belt, it's not the dinner, it's not the vacation, it's building a life that requires you to keep running at full speed forever. Instead, spend on things that buy back your time, that reduce stress or increase your earning power or build your assets. And the goal is, this is the simple goal. At the end of the day, the goal is to keep the money inside your ecosystem long enough that it starts working harder than you do. And once you understand that, the conversation shifts from how do I cut costs to how do I remove the biggest ones altogether, which is the third lever, speed and structure. Doing it earlier and on purpose, like with consistency. And I wish I had known this when I was younger, because the money that you deploy first compounds the longest. Check, we got that. But what most people don't understand is that head start compounds more than people think. So how do you force that progress instead of hoping for it? Like, how do you build this into your ecosystem? One method is the watermark. You decide you need a certain amount of money in your checking account to live. Let's say it's $5,000 or $10,000. Everything above that automatically invested. No questions asked. It's a solid rule. And that rule actually removes emotion and forces you to move the money. Set a limit, a safety limit. Anything above that gets invested, period. A more aggressive model with some rocket fuel on it is investing first, then building your life to live around the rest. So when you get paid, you're focused on fixing, you move $1,000 into the investment, and then you build your life around what's left. And that's a powerful concept. Instead of optimizing and trimming the bushes, you could go for the biggest whale in your entire budget, which ties into the fourth thing. Make your living expenses as small as possible, because all of us have a cost for a roof over our head. It could be rent right now for you. It could be a mortgage. It could be a $200 payment of your parents' basement. Whatever it is, more power to you, but it's still a cost of a roof over your head. Most people think it's just a cost of life. Like you have to pay something to somebody to survive. But you don't, because if you're paying $2,000 a month in rent, that's $24,000 a year. Over 10 years, that's $250,000 that never compounds, never builds equity, and never works for you or does anything. Most people accept that as just a cost of living, and they treat it as a fixed cost of being alive. It doesn't have to be at all. I have 2 words for you: house hack. And there's a ton of different ways to do it, but they all revolve around buying something and renting it out, any kind of assets, and a house included. So get this: low down payment on a home, 3-bedroom home. You take the master bedroom, rent out the smaller units, because remember, you're trying to live for as little as possible. Buy a fourplex, 5% down payment, rent out the 3 units. That will cover your mortgage. And then you live out of the 4th unit and maybe pay a little bit of utilities. But wait, because even further than that, you can rent out the rooms of your individual unit even further. You see how granular we can really make this? You can take that cost of living and you can just annihilate it. What just happened in that example? The cost of the roof over your head, whatever it may be, the housing cost, that biggest whale of a line item in your budget, just disappeared. You didn't budget harder. You didn't save $2,000 a month through discipline. That's it. You eliminated the entire expense through a different structure. That's $24,000 a year that you didn't pay for rent that now stays in your ecosystem. And this is where it becomes really powerful. If you direct that $2,000 into investments instead of someone's rent, retirement accounts, reserves, even the next property, you're just accelerating your timeline without working extra hours. You didn't work overtime. You didn't grind harder. You didn't miss dinners. You didn't eat ramen. You didn't miss family time, your kids' soccer game, whatever it is. This is the type of leverage that changes lives. You just repositioned. We're not even done here, because think about what you just did. When you do the fourplex method, you just acquired an income producing asset that's going to be spitting out income for the rest of your life, or at least until you do something with it. You've built a mechanism which is going to provide a future to you forever, because eventually you move out of the fourplex, you move into the next fourplex, rent out your unit on your way out, the tenants pay down your debt, the appreciation drives up the value over time, and that area in the middle is your net worth, which literally grows while you sleep, and all you did was put down 5%. This is your kid's college fund. This is your retirement. This is where you unlock big ass future problem solving options, and I break this down more in this video here. So if you're at the start of any kind of career where you're making like decent income and it's consistent income, you probably already have enough money to do this. What you don't have is the strategy to bring this all together, because you're too busy playing defense because of life. If your goal is to buy a single family home, put 20% down and pay it off over 30 years, that's fine. But that goal is small relative to what's actually possible with the exact same income you're getting now. Or you can start thinking like an owner, leverage that 9 to 5, acquire those assets that produce cash flow. And when you redirect all that extra cash flow into more assets, more opportunity, and more options, life feels safe. And if you're serious about understanding this, that's exactly what my team and I help people do. There's a link down below where we'll connect and map out your next move and show you what it could look like, so you can accelerate that trajectory and close that gap between where you are now and where you want to be. I'll see you on the next one.